This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. You know, in my video where I talked about what the Browns could do to make the vibes feel better, one thing I mentioned was that the Browns just needed to make some big plays in the preseason just to get everybody to calm down a little bit. And it's not because those preseason plays, if you make a big one, it indicates that you're going to be great week one or any real indication. It's just we wanted to see the Browns offense do something positive because it's been a long time since we've seen them make a big play, since we've watched the Browns and they've been in a competitive game. And since that has happened in week 3 of the preseason, it feels like the vibes just keep improving. Now, one thing that happened that was not a vibe lifter nor a vibe killer, we got the expected news that Nick Chubb's going to start the season on PUP. Now, there was some hope before camp that Nick Chubb could get active for week 1 because there were reports of him sprinting and moving left and right with Hines, but it seems like the Browns are still going to take this slow and safe, which is good, to make sure that Nick Chubb is absolutely 100% ready. They're going to put him on PUP, which means he will miss the first 4 weeks of the season. Now, it's important to remember the Browns play the Cowboys, the Commanders, I believe. The Browns don't have a strong slate in that first 5 games. So it is possible that by the time you play Philadelphia, the Cleveland Browns will have Nick Chubb back. And it seems like that might be the expectation, is that, you know, by Philadelphia that Nick Chubb will be back. Because if you look at his contract that he reworked, most contracts have you have to play 17 games in order to reach a lot of your incentives. Nick Chubb's incentives only require him playing 12 games, which means you take the 12, you subtract 6 weeks, 18 weeks in the NFL season. That tells me that Nick Chubb at least thinks that he can get back by Philadelphia. We'll see when he actually gets back. But again, the fact that you're getting Nick Chubb back at some point in this season is the big win here, right? Like, you know that you're going to be doing well because you have Nick Chubb coming back. That is the good news. Other good news that broke: the Browns got a bunch of dudes back from injury, a bunch of guys who are practicing back from injury, and a bunch of guys who will not be on the PUP list. Now, I think Nyheim Hines is still questionable for the PUP list. We talked about this. The Browns are going to have D'Onta Foreman, who seems like he's going to be healthy in time for week 1, and Jerome Ford on that roster. Pierre Strong, I think he was on track to make the team just because of the injuries that the Browns have. But now with that injury, I don't think he's on track anymore. I don't think the Browns are going to keep Aiden Robbins. I expect the Browns to go shopping for a running back. I did my video about who I would like. Yeah, the 2 guys that I had at the top of my list for running back are Chris Brooks from Miami, big body, 6'1", 220, good vision, good feet. Like the highlights, like the tape on him. Cam Akers, similar situation, former 2nd-round pick, has been productive before in the NFL. And if you're in this situation where you're pretty sure D'Onta Foreman's going to play, but you're not 100% sure D'Onta Foreman's going to play, you want somebody who can fill in behind him that is either used to taking a ton of carries like a Cam Akers, or has the physical frame to do the short yardage and first down running that you would expect him to do in Chris Brooks, who's a little bit more inexperienced. So one of those 2 running backs would make a ton of sense for that situation. But that's kind of the running back room. No Nick Chubb week 1, no Nyheim Hines, but that's okay. We kind of expected that would be the case. Now, Nyheim Hines is not yet on regular season PUP. They announced that Nick Chubb will start the season on PUP, but Nyheim Hines, he's still up in the air. He can get activated at any week, or not any week, any time, and be off PUP. So we're just projecting that Nyheim Hines is going to be on PUP. We know that Nick Chubb is starting the season on PUP. That is known. They announced that. All right. Other things that the Browns announced, and this comes from the Akron Beacon Journal, writer Chris Esterling. I hope I got that name right. He writes in his article, the reinforcements are on their way for the Browns. They couldn't arrive at a better time. Head coach Kevin Stefanski opened up Monday's Zoom call with the media with a lengthy list of players who are expected back on the practice field when the team begins preparation in earnest for September 8th opener against the Dallas Cowboys. The list includes several players who spent the entirety of training camp on the active injury list. The biggest news is that offensive tackles Jack Conklin and Jedrick Wills, as well as safety DeAnthony Bell and defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson, all were going to be coming off the physically unable to perform list after being on the PUP list all preseason. Although Wills won't actually be practicing this week, running back Nick Chubb is on. Now, Jet Wills won't be practicing, but he is back off the PUP, which means it's only really a matter of time before he gets back out there. Now, the practicing part of this is important because that would indicate that Jack Conklin is ready to go, right? That would indicate that Dalvin Tomlinson is ready to go. And the earlier you're ready to go, the better, because you have, 10 days? What is it? Yeah. You have now about 14 days before you play the Dallas Cowboys. That's a lot of time to get prepared for a team. You just got to know what pieces that you have. Greg Newsome coming back off PUP and being expected to practice. Huge deal. Dalvin Tomlinson, huge deal. The reason Greg Newsome coming back off PUP and then being expected to play is a big deal, coming off that hamstring injury, is we talked about this. We don't know what Denzel Ward's status is going to be for week one. It seems like they are confident that Denzel Ward is going to be back for week one. But if you had both of those guys out, your corner situation looks a lot different. I mean, we're talking about having to sign somebody to start because you don't want to play Miles Harden week one against like CeeDee Lamb and let that happen to him when he's just transitioning from the FCS. It wouldn't be a good idea if you're the Cleveland Browns. So getting Greg Newsome back, a big deal here. Getting both your tackles back, a big deal. People were worried about backup tackle. We know that Jack Conklin is preparing to swing tackle behind both DeJuan Jones and behind Jed Wills, right? That's the plan as it stands right now. Now, Jed Wills, if he gets back in time, will be the left tackle. If Jed Wills does not get back in time, I think when he is healthy, he will be the left tackle. I know there is a lot of hope that Jack Conklin will take over that left tackle role and be just as good as he is or close to as good as he is on that right side. On that left side, I have my hesitations about that. I've talked about that. He's coming off of multiple knee surgeries. He is getting older, and he's played right tackle for 10 years. I don't think he can simply just flip to the left side. We've seen guys attempt to do that in similar circumstances, and it doesn't end as bad. It ends as a disaster. So don't really think you want to test that as much as some people are willing to test it because the public perception on Jed Wills is so low. But I would like to remind people that Jed Wills, the last 5 weeks that he played football, while he's not the greatest tackle in the world, he was like the 20th left tackle on Pro Football Focus. If your worst offensive lineman is the 20th ranked player at his position, you're doing okay. Like, you're fine. That's fine. It's not going to kill your team if Jed Wills is out there and if Jed Wills is your best possible option. But now we're not talking about Jermaine Ifedi possibly playing week one. We're not talking about Hakeem Adeniji or James Hudson starting week one. These are all better developments than what have been before. We were complaining a lot and we were worried a lot about that left tackle situation. Well, now it looks like the Browns are likely to have a full complement of left tackles, if not at least Jack Conklin, right? So no worries there about a Fetty or James Hudson having to go up against Micah Parsons, because as much as I don't love the idea of flipping somebody to right tackle after to left tackle after they played right tackle for 10 years and they're coming off multiple knee surgeries and they're over 30, I do think Jack Conklin is a better option than like Jermaine Ifedi and James Hudson by an order of magnitude. So that is where I'm at with the Jack Conklin news. Very excited. Jed Wills, super excited to see he's off PUP. Dalvin Tomlinson off PUP at practice. Really good news there. We're going to need Dalvin Tomlinson this year, and Dalvin Tomlinson is a big part of that defensive line. So now you have your healthy, full complement of defensive linemen. You're going to be healthy along the line of scrimmage. And if we look at it, and let's try to do a roll call here, we know Deshaun Watson's going to be active week 1, so you're healthy there. You're not going to be 100% healthy at running back because Nick Chubb's going to start the year on PUP, but it's looking like the prognosis on that is earlier than later with Nick Chubb. So that's good news. Then you have the offensive line. Jed, Jack, everybody's back at practice at least, or at least off the PUP list on the offensive line. And potentially you could have a full complement of healthy offensive linemen by the time in 2 weeks, by the time we get to the Dallas game. So that's heading in the right direction. Wide receiver is all healthy. DBs look like they're trending in the right direction. We got the good news on Denzel Ward last week that they expect him back for week 1. We got the good news today about Greg Newsome that we expect him, that he's back at practice actually. And then Martin Emerson, he's healthy. So you got the good news there to secondary. Defensive line, you're healthy there. Linebackers, we'll see what's up with Jordan Hicks, but that's the only injury that you have there. Maybe Bookie Watson too. So you got to see what's going to go, monitor that situation. And then at safety, it seems like you're all set. You even got D'Anthony Bell back, and I think they're expecting Ronnie Hickman to come back soon. So all of a sudden, this team that felt like they were so injured, so destroyed by the injury bug in the preseason, all of a sudden, 2 days later, looks like they're very healthy as they have been all off season, and it's coming at the right time. So this is just really good news, good development. Hopefully everybody can stay healthy. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, do whatever you got to do. But that's all good news. I'm excited. And hopefully we can continue to get more good news as we get ramped up to the season. That's it for today's video. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.